The following program is paid for by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 7233. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Gateway Mortgage Group. Contact your local branch for more information. You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, sponsored by Gateway Mortgage Group. Now in the studio, local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome to the Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, December 10th show. I am your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events in our local economy and how it can affect your money. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. I'm here to answer any questions that you have or connect you with the guests that I have on the show today. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. That's 1-855-400-1150. 1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And the lineup for the show today, I have Joe Mason with Caring Transitions of South Puget Sound. We'll be talking about downsizing and estate services. Also in studio, Tony Sablan with Eagle Strategies, New York Life, financial strategies so that your holiday will be filled with joy. And last guest in studio, Sandy McCalla with Etiquette for You, Etiquette for a joy-fulfilled holiday season. So it'll be a great introduction for the holidays today. Great information, great guest in studio. For more information on any topics discussed, please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And here's today's Money Chat.
Money.
A little bit about credit tips, increasing your credit score, some credit myths, and things that you'll want to know, all credit related. Your credit score or FICO score determines the terms and interest rates that you receive on credit cards, car loan, mortgage loans, and even the cost of car insurance. A lot of employers are even looking at your FICO score to make a decision on whether or not they're going to hire you. So your FICO score provides the best guide to future risk based on solely your credit report data. Now, credit scores vary from the low 300 to 850. FICO score is the middle score from the three bureaus. They're going to look at Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian to determine what your FICO score is. A 760 or higher is considered an excellent FICO score. 660 or lower is considered in the challenged area, and you might need to do some restructuring to improve your credit score. Why are consumer credit report scores different than when you're looking at a lender credit score? Because if you've ever applied for a mortgage and you've looked at your score, maybe myficoscore.com is a common one that consumers use, and then you go to your lender and the credit score is different. The credit reports pulled by consumer are different scoring algorithms than pulled by banks, lenders, and credit card companies. Sometimes they're unique algorithms developed by separate modeling companies. Sometimes they're industry-specific variations, and other times their custom algorithm may be utilized. So mortgage lenders have their own brand of FICO score. Even your FICO from myficoscore.com and other consumer credit score resources have totally different algorithms. Now, mortgage credit scores can be different because of the algorithms being used, and FICO has actually 53 different models on credit scores that they grade different industries, again, such as mortgage, auto loans, insurance, student loans, and credit cards. So sorry for the most likely disappointing news, but there's no way for you to find out exactly what your FICO score is, except for get it from the lending institute and when you're looking at borrowing money. Now, credit components, past delinquents, is 35% of your credit score. Debt to credit utilization ratio, that's 30%. So basically keeping your credit balances should be under 50%, at least making sure that those credit balances do not go over that 50% threshold. Ideally, you can keep it under 30. Average age of credit is worth 15% of the credit score. Don't close credit cards that are older than 2 years. Seasoned accounts are important. Also, you want to make sure, and this is going to sound a little strange, but not paying off collection accounts without consulting with your lender first, because paying off collection accounts a lot of times will actually bring your credit score down depending on the seasoning, because again, the seasoning is important. So once that collection is paid off, you've lost the seasoning for that account. So it's a one-on-one conversation on what the strategy is going to be in paying off collections and when you want to do that. Mixed credit is worth 10%. Every every installment trade line. Ideally, you have 3 revolving trade lines. I'm not saying to go out and open new revolving debt to get that ratio of 1 to 3, but it is something that goes into factor in the mix of the credit. So again, it's a one-on-one consultation to determine what you need to do to strategize to increase your FICO score. And last part of the pie for the components is the inquiries. It represents 10% of your credit score. 7 inquiries a year before affecting credit, depending on the what they're looking at, but that's kind of the range. Depending on the credit bureau, the window for duplicate inquiries can be 14 to 45 days. So basically means if you're applying for a mortgage and you have your credit report pulled by multiple lenders, as long as it falls within that 14 to 45 days, depending on what they're looking at, then you should be okay. Paid off tax liens can be removed. So a lot of times people don't know that, and it takes some work to get it removed. But once it's been paid, released, or satisfied, federal tax liens can be deleted from a credit report and all other public records within 30 days. So this could have a huge impact on your credit score, and it can relatively happen quickly as far as the reflect of the credit score. Some unpaid tax liens can be deleted. So federal tax liens can also be deleted if they have balances that are less than $25,000 with on-time payments to the IRS. Add an authorized user to increase your credit score. Adding an authorized user can increase the credit score in as little as 3 weeks for no charge. So no fees, no credit checks. Best of all, they cannot be denied. You're just getting added to. Now, the ideal is getting added to a seasoned account. Remember, at least 2 years or older. So if you have parents that have a Macy's card that's been open for 10 years, that's a good one to get added to. Doesn't mean that they're going to give you the credit card and you have to use it, but just being authorized as an account user. Add secure credit cards. If you don't have anyone that would authorize you to be an authorized user, that's the better scenario. But a backup plan would be to add secured accounts. Lenders like to see 3 to 5 trade lines. So if you're lacking trade lines meaning you have a Nordstrom's card, you have a car payment, you have a Sears card, so 5 different trade lines that are open to count. Adding secured credit cards or adding secured accounts can help by increasing those trade lines. So this needs to be structured a certain way, but is extremely effective within a couple months. Where you can go for secured cards, a great one is OpenSkyCC.com. Again, that's OpenSkyCC.com. Keep balances. Again, I mentioned at the beginning of the money chat, keep balances below 30% of the available that's available to you. That's the ideal ratio. Definitely you don't want it to get it over 50%. So if you have a credit limit of $5,000, you want to make sure that you never owe more than $2,500 a month. Yes, this is even for those of you that pay your credit cards off every month. You don't want to get it up to over that 50%. So if you have $5,000, you don't want to utilize all of that or go over that 50% mark over $2,500, even if you're going to pay it off at the end of the month, because you don't know when that's reporting and when your credit report is going to be pulled. So if you're looking at securing any type of liabilities or any type of loan, make sure that you're keeping it under that 50%. And consolidate student loans. In student loans, if they're in default, they can be consolidated and transferred in a U.S. Department of Education. This will make a huge difference in the score and the overall approval strength. Put burden of proof back on the creditor. Collections and charge-off are deleted at roughly 70%. They generally don't have to be documented to support the account properly, and that you can put the burden back on the creditor. Now, this is where a credit consulting or a credit repair company can come into play to assist with this. There's a lot of things that are that are not within fair credit rules for you, to where it can affect your credit score with those collections, and the collection companies are not reporting it accurately on the credit report. So if you're working with a credit repair company, they can act on your behalf and get those resolved for you very quickly. Again, 70% are in a position to where they should be removed because of the way that they're reporting it on your credit report. You just need to have the experience behind it that understand what those are so that they can have them removed for you. Fix inaccurate or additional personal information. 90% of credit reports have additional personal information that is either incorrect, inaccurate, or dated. I've seen scenarios with 6 different names, 2 social security numbers, several different addresses. This can be updated pretty quickly, and it can help remove the inaccurate information that's reporting on your credit report that can also be affecting your credit score. And last, limit credit inquiries, which again, I brought it at the beginning. So you just want to make sure that you're not having your credit report pulled too often to where it's going to affect the score based on the inquiries. Now, this is where somebody is, where you're applying for a debt. So if you're trying to get your credit score from a myficoscore.com. They're not pulling your credit report, so there's no challenges there. It's just if you're trying to take out a new liability to where it's going to be an actual inquiry. That's the Money Chat coming up next in the Money Hour. Are you needing to downsize or have an estate sale? I have Joe Mason with Caring Transition, South Puget Sound, right here at 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
Do you want to increase your professional effectiveness and create long-term clients who bring their friends with them? Sandy McCalla with Etiquette for You takes pride in helping professionals and companies deepen their people skills and enhance their corporate culture. Sandy is a certified etiquette consultant, speaker, and mentor with over 45 years in service industries who specializes in building successful track records.
To get more information on a customized plan for yourself or your organization, you can call me directly at 425-209-9952 or reach me online at etiquetteforyou.com. Again, that is Sandy McCalla, Etiquette for You at 425-209-9952 or etiquetteforyou.com. I look forward to connecting with you soon.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, December 10th show. It's a great day to talk about money. That's why I'm here. That's what the show is all about, how to make money, save money, have a better quality of life for you and for your family, especially in this holiday season. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. I'm here. I can answer any questions that you have, 1-855-400-1150, or you can go online at themoneyhour.com. I've got some amazing guests in studio. I can connect you with them as well. Again, just call the show, 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. Right now in studio, I have Joe Mason with Caring Transitions of South Puget Sound, and we're going to be discussing downsizing and estate sales services. Joe, thank you so much for joining me back in studio.
Thanks for having me back.
Happy holidays to you.
And happy holidays to you as well.
A little bit about Joe, 1.5 years experience as a certified relocation and transition specialist, retired after 31 years in the military, 27 of those full-time for the Washington Army National Guard. And Joe, last time that you were here in studio visiting with me and sharing with my listeners, we've talked about a lot of things, but since then, what's new and happening with Caring Transitions?
Well, since then, we've opened up a couple new franchises. We've got one out on the Kitsap Peninsula, so one opening up in Bremerton. That'll be open soon. Okay. We've also got a franchise starting that goes from Everett up to Marysville. So not only do we have Seattle well covered with Jennifer Black, but Michelle Green on the east side doing Bellevue, Issaquah. I'm in the South Sound, and I'm also purchasing a franchise from Federal Way up to Kirkland.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
It's great to hear the such a great company is expanding and having their services available to more people in our area. So, Joe, last time we discussed how families could best prepare for downsizing in future by planning ahead. So what about families that don't have time to prepare or they've procrastinated on that preparation? What advice? Not
only procrastination, but sometimes it's a medical issue that comes up where somebody has a fall and they go into rehab. Perhaps they can't return to the home, and all of a sudden they've got to downsize when that wasn't in their plans originally. We do everything we normally do to help people downsize, but we can do it on a compressed timeline. So we'll help them with the space plan once they've identified where they want to go, and we'll help them with a physical estate sale or an online auction estate sale, and then we can help them do a property clean out so that they can sell the home.
So once a family's determined that they need assistance to downsize, what qualities should they look for when considering a company to help them through this process?
Well, they want to make sure one of the first questions would be, is the company that they're going to work with licensed, bonded, insured? They want to know exactly what those charges are going to be, what are the fees, what are the commissions, and know those things up front so there aren't any nasty surprises. Another question they could ask is, how does that company handle security? One of the things is, for example, Caring Transitions, all of our employees undergo a background check when they come to work with us. In addition to that, as we're handling a family's property, we are very careful with their personally identifiable information. We want to make sure we can do everything we can to reduce the possibility of identity theft. So we're very careful to collect all of those things, have the family review them, and then make sure that those things are shred.
Yeah, really important when having access to all of that personal information.
So one other consideration is, do they have an appraiser on staff or do they have access to an appraiser? If there are pieces of property that are expensive, valuable, and you want to know exactly what the fair market value is, and so you can get the family proper value for their items. You'll want a copy of the contract, and another thing is to perhaps take a look at the quality of their work. If you can, see if they're conducting an estate sale, and maybe just go incognito and take a look at how they do business and see if you like them.
Great advice, and makes total sense in doing your research ahead of time to make sure that you're getting a quality professional that's going to take care of you. So why do most of your clients, Joe, who need estate sale services, choose to have their estate sale online?
That's a great question. One of the reasons is weather doesn't become a factor. When you go to do all of the work in order to prepare for an estate sale, you don't want to have Mother Nature come in and just keep everybody at home.
And we have some surprises with Mother Nature here in the Seattle area.
It does happen. So an online estate sale is a really great option. Other considerations for an online estate sale are that more of the items will sell, and the bottom line, what we find is that someone will realize almost twice the profit they would from an online auction than they would from a physical estate sale. And one of the reasons for that is when a family has collectibles and such, and we're advertising those online, it appeals to a national audience rather than just who can show up that weekend. So it's a great deal for them.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it's just surprising. This year, I have not stepped out of my house to buy any Christmas gifts. It's all been online. I'm still shopping, by the way. So, Joe, what about so we're talking about online and that process and being more efficient, being more profitable. What about the shipping and the cost for that? Who takes care of that?
Caring Transitions handles all of that. So the buyer pays the fees and we take care of the shipping so that the client doesn't have to worry about anything.
Got it. So what happens to the items that aren't sold in the estate sale?
It's at the discretion of the client. Oftentimes they'll direct that it goes to Goodwill, Habitat for Humanity, Salvation Army, or if they have a particular charity that they like, that may come and pick it up. That'll reduce their cost, or we'll bring it to them. And then those things that aren't accepted by a charity, we'll take to the landfill.
So, Joe, when the house has been cleared out and it's ready to go, how are you helping your clients prepare the home for sale?
Well, by doing that clean out, what we'll do at the end, once we've sold everything that we can for them, is we'll make those donations, take things to the landfill, and then we'll do a dry clean. So we'll vacuum, we'll sweep, and we'll turn it over to the realtor. One of the other things I want to talk about is this time of year is a great time for families who are getting together and they may not have seen mom and dad for a while, and they'll be able to notice whether or not mom or dad are doing okay and recognize that it's time to do downsizing. And, they'll take a look and see the cleanliness of the place. Are mom and dad keeping the routines that they're used to? Another thing is checking out the car. Going to mom and dad's car, walking around it.
What are you seeing in the car?
Oh, just looking out for any scratches or dents that may not have been there last time.
Okay, making sure that
just
they're
one of those indicators.
Yeah, so just one, and hopefully all of us are having time to check in on our parents on a regular basis. But yeah, sometimes life comes into place and people get busy. So definitely during the holidays, you're making those visits. So why not make sure that you're watching out and seeing what's going on? Great advice. So services and the affordability. Let's talk about that.
The services are affordable. Like I was mentioning earlier, you do get a written estimate up front. We'll do a free consultation. We'll provide that written estimate. And then more often than not, the client's getting money back after all of the sale. The revenue generated from the sale will cover the cost and provide a check back to that client.
Okay. So what if I have a listener that's just thinking they want to decide to do everything on their own? What would you say to that person, Joe?
More power to them, and if they're good at it, I'll hire them. Yeah. But oftentimes, I'll talk to them, and they'll take a look at the cost, and they think that they can't afford it. But I got to tell you, it's a lot of work doing the sorting, organizing, pricing things, making sure that you're getting fair market value, doing things like advertising, staffing the sale, trying to prevent theft. And then one of the things that we can do that oftentimes when people do it on their own, they can't do, is we'll have, we can accept credit and debit cards, and oftentimes people spend more when they can take advantage of that. And if they're still determined, I'll provide them some tips and say good luck, and sometimes they'll call me back.
And say this is a little bit too much.
More than I expected, and we want you back.
So any story that you can share with my listeners, Joe, on a success story that you've recently had with assisting with one of your clients?
Well, we recently had some folks who essentially had a lot of farm items, and there are things that weren't particularly useful, but they look great in people's yard. And so by doing an online sale, I'm sure we generated probably 3 times the revenue they would have gotten from just having a physical estate sale. And they were quite pleased with us.
So what do you say in the most common things in a estate sale that is where is bringing in the most money? Are there more popular items?
Well, it's kind of funny right now. Mid-century modern furniture, which we see a lot of, is pretty popular. It's pretty surprising.
Yeah.
And so most of our customers for our online auctions are people who resell on eBay.
I was just going to say that. I know it seems like there'd be a lot of it because they're going in and they're looking for those deals that they can then price it up on eBay. And for those of you that are going through an estate sale, you just don't have time to go and price it individual and manage that, because I've heard it's quite a process. But
it is. But I've had some. I've got some regular customers and also some that I ship to across the nation that. They're regular customers. They find those bargains in our online auctions and take advantage of it.
So you actually even have a sphere of people within that are out there shopping and looking for items that you might even be able to reach out to and assist with those sales.
Exactly. And the longer we do it, the greater our mailing list becomes.
Yes. So, Joe, I've got a few minutes here left before I take us to commercial. Anything else that you want to share in advice when it comes to downsizing, estate sales?
One of the things, probably the biggest thing that leads it off, is recognizing the fact that people do need to downsize.
Yes.
And oftentimes, some folks, like my parents, I hope they're not listening, are reluctant to do so. But there are advantages because if, getting around safely, getting the right nutrition, it may be time to downsize a little bit, and there's less to keep track of. And so when it is that time, helping them through the process to identify what's important to them in a facility and helping them get there. Once they've chosen a spot, we can help from there. So.
And I would imagine, in that process of helping them decide, it's easier coming from an outside and an expert than it is from within the family, your daughter, your son, to help. So really having that third party, not related, and coming in as an expert to help them through the process, I would imagine would be a lot more successful.
It is. Absolutely.
Yeah. Joe, thank you for coming back in studio. Again, happy holidays to you, and appreciate all the advice you share with my listeners.
Happy holidays, and thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Coming up next on the Money Hour, do you want to have more money to enjoy the holidays? Learn some financial strategies. It's Tony Sablan with Eagle Strategies, New York Life, right here at 11:50 a.m. at KKNW after the short break.
Are you near retirement? Recently transferred to a new job and wondering what to do with your old 401k? Are you interested in learning about how to create a defensive and offensive strategy for your financial plan? Tony Sablan of Eagle Strategies can help you analyze your current financial plan, life insurance, and investments. Tony Sablan has helped hundreds of individuals, families, and business owners bring clarity to their financial plan.
This is Tony Sablan with Eagle Strategies. To learn more about my practice, call me at 425-586-0977 or reach me online at ultimatewealthstrategies.com. To receive a free consultation, call me at 425-586-0977 or reach me online at at eaglestrategies.com. Again, that's 425-586-0977, or reach me online at Sablan at eaglestrategies.com.
The following material is presented for informational and sales purposes only and represents our understanding of generally applicable rules. It is not intended and does not set forth solutions to individual situations. New York Life Insurance Company, its agents, or employees may not give legal, tax, or accounting advice, and none is intended nor should be inferred from the information herein. Clients should consult their own professional advisors prior to implementing any planning strategies. This material includes a discussion of one or more tax-related topics prepared to assist in the promotion or marketing of the transactions or matters addressed. It is not intended and cannot be used by any taxpayer for the purpose of avoiding any IRS penalties that may be imposed upon the taxpayer.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Well, welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, December 10th show. I provide you news on everything money, fresh information and market trends in our local economy. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. You can talk with any of the guests I have in studio, talk with myself, your host, by calling the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150, or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio, I have Tony Sablan with Eagle Strategies New York Life talking about financial strategies. Tony, thank you for joining me back in studio. Happy holidays to you as well.
Happy holidays to you too, and thanks for having me again.
A little bit about Tony. Tony is wealth advisor with Eagle Strategies, LLC. He's also the founder of Ultimate Wealth Strategies based in Bellevue, Washington. Tony works with individuals, families, and business owners to identify what motivates them, what keeps them up at night, and focus on their financial solutions that can help make their goals a reality. He not only relies on his own knowledge and experience, but also on expertise of his team and specialists. His mission is to develop endearing relationships with the clients and providing expert guidance pertaining to life insurance strategies, investments, and upgrading people's financial plans. Tony's also a soon-to-be author for his financial planning book coming out fourth quarter of this year. So excited to read that, Tony. So Tony, it's the holiday season and people are busy with shopping, year-end planning, hosting, and visiting families. How can you help my listeners get their finances in check?
Well, if you think about it, building a strong financial future for your family is like building a house.
Mm-hmm.
You start from the ground up, and the holiday season is a great time to review your financial plan or begin your financial plan. And waiting till after the new year comes will just add another year to your procrastination or your to-do list. So get your plan done now so that you can build upon your strong foundation throughout the year. And focus on the things you should be focusing on, like spending time with family, work, and making more money. And a couple hours of your time now to secure your financial future is small compared to the hours you spend in traffic or dealing with day-to-day stuff come 2017.
Yeah, and I like how you use the example of building a home, because it is the foundation and starting from the bottom and building up to make sure that you have a home that has a good roof that's going to keep you safe and warm at night. So great advice. What is the first thing that you must do to get your year-end financial planning in order? Since we're reaching the end of the year.
Yeah. So the first thing in your financial house is made up of two components, right? It's cash flow and net worth. So to determine your cash flow, you must determine how much income you bring home. And to do that, you start by adding up all your take-home pay and any other income sources you may have. And this gives you your net income. The next thing to do is look at all your expenses: housing, food, gifts, etc., bills, and include anything you spend money on regularly, and subtract that number from your net income figure. And this is your cash flow. And one of our objectives today is to help you discover the benefits of adopting the financial habit of saving first and spending last. And we'll get into more detail on that later, but just remember that it is usually one of the main keys to achieving personal financial freedom and building wealth.
And I think when it comes to budgeting and figuring out what you're spending on a monthly basis, a good thing is to really, if you're not already doing it, write down everything that you spend, everything you can possibly think of, and monitor it for a month or 2 months. And I know that there's statistics, Tony, too, that when you write something down, you're actually less apt to spend it. When you're budgeting for something and wanting something, you're less apt to spend money. So think about this. These little things, simple things can really compound and have a huge impact. Tony, after figuring out how much money that you make, how much you have left over, what else should you be doing?
The next level in your financial house is risk management. Life is risky business as it is, so you need to be prepared. And there are usually 6 elements to a risk management program, and that's an emergency fund. You and your family should spend time to figure out how much money you'd like in your savings for immediate emergencies. And typically this amount is 6 months to a year's worth of living expenses these days. And some examples include, if you lose a job, you break a leg, or you can't work, or any unexpected large bills such as a home or car repair, or large medical or dental bills. Life insurance is another key piece of your risk management program. So when people generally think of life insurance, they think of life insurance you get through work. The other type of life insurance is the type you personally own, and we'll call it personal insurance. And that requires some underwriting, but you own it at the end of the day, and you control the coverage and the amount of money you contribute to it. And there are various types, but we can get to that in more detail in another time.
We could have a whole show on all the different types of life insurance.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, Tony, what else is included in protecting your family money that you see people often overlook?
Income protection is a big thing, and this covers you when you have a long-term disability such as cancer or Alzheimer's, and you see this a lot these days with GoFundMe. Your health changes unannounced, so it's best to be prepared with some form of income protection to keep your paycheck coming in when you're not able to work for a long time. And health insurance is another component that people often overlook because you just never know when you need it, and your health status, like I said earlier, can change without notice. And an interesting statistic is that the total the Milliman Medical Index in 2015 stated that the total annual cost of health care for a family of 4 covered by an employer-sponsored preferred provider plan was $24,671. And that's the equivalent to the cost of attending a 4-year in-state public college. Of that amount, the employer pays about $14,198, and the employee pays $10,473, representing an increase of 12% year over year.
That's crazy. And, you really need to ask yourself, Tony talks about income, where that's going to come from when you're nearing your retirement. Ask yourself, would you work for a company for 30 years without a raise? So you really need to consider, if you're going to be living for 30 years plus in your retirement, are you going to be doing that without getting an increase? So, which you would not. You could not survive with that. So you really got to strategize and work with your financial planner, an individual like Tony to plan that out for your specific needs and what you're going to do. So, Tony, let's talk about retirement. When one of my listeners is nearing retirement or retired right now, what do they do?
Well, in the last piece of risk management, folks nearing retirement or those in retirement should really take the time to ask themselves how they will cover expenses for an extended care event. You see this going on so much. And again, I like to go to the GoFundMe because it's just in your face with what people are going through with an extended care event. So taking time to learn about your options for long-term care is really worthwhile.
So, Tony, now that you have reviewed your risk management, what's the next step for the blueprint?
So now that you understand the amount of money you have coming in, and you have your risk management in place, the third level of your financial house is college funding and retirement planning. So you're probably aware that college costs are escalating annually. And there are many products out there such as grandparents, 529 plans, cash value life insurance, or if you're lucky, a rich uncle to help you set aside money for college tuition. So even if you haven't started saving for your child's college education, or you feel that your current rate of saving may not be sufficient, it is not too late to set aside some funds to help secure your child's future.
So, Tony, retirement planning, where does that come into play?
So in planning for retirement, there are various options to consider. Two main categories are your qualified plans and personal savings. Qualified plans include IRAs, 401ks, and these are designed to help you accumulate money on a tax-deferred basis, on a pre-tax basis. And this means that you don't pay taxes on the money you set aside in these plans until you withdraw the money. And there are usually penalties associated with early withdrawals. And qualified plans are government controlled. In essence, the government determines how much you can contribute and save.
So, and another thing too on that, and really talking with your advisor, is strategizing and find out what you think taxes are going to do. Are you going to pay higher taxes when you're retirement, or less taxes, because that's going to determine what makes most sense? Or what is that investment, that money, going to earn you that you're not paying taxes at that time, that you're able to invest at a longer period of time? So there's a lot of different factors, and that's why having that plan and really putting that foundation together is key to having a successful financial home. What are some misconceptions, Tony, about retirement planning?
So some common
that money's just going to show up when you retire. I bet that would be one of them.
Right. Or that you're going to work till you die.
There you go.
A few misconceptions are, what I often hear is, I don't need as much money in retirement. And the reality is, money just shifts to different types of spending. So you're no longer spending on the car, but now you have higher health costs. You don't have the mortgage anymore, but you're spending more time on vacations. So really, it's just, your spending habits change. And also, moving to a retiree-friendly state will save you money. Generally, that is not the case, since having zero income taxes often translates into higher taxes elsewhere, such as property or sales tax. So really, just take the time to review all the little intricate details in, deciding to move to a retiree-friendly state. And then one of the biggest ones is, Medicare will be enough to pay for my healthcare expenses. Fidelity estimated a few years ago that a couple who retired in 2013 will need as much as $240,000 beyond their Medicare coverage to pay for healthcare costs in retirement. And Medicare only covers you up to 100 days, and anything past 100 days comes out of your pocket. Hence the need for a long-term care plan.
So, Tony, when you're meeting with your clients, what's one thing that you hear in that meeting from your clients that you wish people would have just started a little bit earlier?
Yeah, actually, there are several things I commonly hear when I sit down with folks. And one of them is, I wish I would have bought that whole life insurance when I had the money when I was young. And if you just spreadsheet out, term versus whole permanent coverage, you'll find that the term will cost you more in the long run. And it's similar to, buying a house. Rent versus buying. At the end of the day, buying is probably cheaper.
Yes.
So the other one is, I wish I would have saved more. And really, that's just flexing your savings muscles. It's like working out. You start with light weights, whether that's 50 cents a week, $50 a month, just to start developing the habit of saving money. The other one is, I wish I wouldn't have bought that bigger house and spent more money on experiences such as vacations, spending more time with family. So now you have the bigger house, but you also have high overhead, and you have to work longer hours or whatnot, depending on your salary. But, people find that spending more time with family becomes a more integral part as they get older.
Yeah.
And then also, don't be the I wish I would have person. So be the let's do it now person. My favorite quote from one of my favorite speakers, Les Brown, is, the graveyard is the richest place on earth because it is here that you will find all the hopes and dreams that were never fulfilled, the books that were never written, the songs that were never sung, the inventions that were never shared, the cures that were never discovered, all because someone was too afraid to take that first step. So to keep with the problem or determined to carry out their dream. So in essence, starting now and just taking some form of action really makes a difference.
Well said, Tony. I love Les Brown as well. A shout out to him. I actually mentioned in my book, I listen to him every morning with a lot of his motivation. So well said. Tony, thank you so much for joining me back in studio, and look forward to talking with you after the holidays.
Thank you, Tina.
Coming up next on the Money Hour, etiquette for a joy-filled holiday season. Sandy McCalla with Etiquette for You right here on 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
Do you want to increase your professional effectiveness and create long-term clients who bring their friends with them? Sandy McCalla with Etiquette for You takes pride in helping professionals and companies deepen their people skills and enhance their corporate culture. Sandy is a certified etiquette consultant, speaker, and mentor with over 45 years in service industries who specializes in building successful track records.
To get more information on a customized plan for yourself or your organization, you can call me directly at 425-209-9952 or reach me online at etiquetteforyou.com. Again, that is Sandy McCalla, Etiquette for You at 425-209-9952 or etiquetteforyou.com. I look forward to connecting with you soon.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday 10th show. I bring into studio each week the best of the best experts in our local market on everything regarding your money. I'm here to help you in today's economy. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150, 1-855-400-1150, or online at themoneyhour.com to discuss anything regarding money with the guests I have in studio or with myself, your host. Right now in studio, Sandy McCalla with Etiquette for You. Sandy, thanks for joining me back in studio. And just like the other guests, I want to say happy holiday to you as well.
Thank you very much for having me back, and happy holidays to you.
And thank you, too, for the Power Hour Luncheon and Learn. You were my guest speaker, and I have to say my realtors really enjoyed the conversation of etiquette and really how that applies in real estate. And so thank you for that, Sandy.
Thank you.
A little bit about Sandy. Sandy McCalla attained her etiquette certification in 1997 for Etiquette Institute in St. Louis, Missouri. She's an accomplished business person with 45 years in business and industry and is a seasoned speaker and trainer. Sandy has just appointed chapter president for the National Association of Professional Women in Everett to provide leadership and growth opportunities for women in business. While her core skills are corporate leadership and operation process improvement, her passion is to equip others with skills and resources to become high achievers in their chosen field. She brings practical, sustainable knowledge to life skills, strengthens others to grow and embrace success. So, Sandy, we're talking today little spin with the holidays, joy-filled holiday season. And there's a lot more to activities and distractions this year, this time of year. And what should we be thinking about to make our holidays special when it comes to etiquette?
Well, I feel that you do need to concentrate on joy and make that the central theme of your holiday. And there's some key things that you can do to really make that the most. Key things, just the key things, I think, to start off simply are do deep breathing during this time. We're going to wind up being in lines. You're going to wind up being frustrated and in traffic. So take the time to do some deep breathing and relax and bring calm into your life.
I love that, Sandy. I do that all the time. It's just a matter of...
Exactly.
And then you feel so much better.
You feel so much better, and you can approach everything a little with a clearer mind and with less anxiety and angst in the situation. And if you want to experience joy, I just find like in many other different arenas of life, you need to bring joy to others on a daily basis. You need to create joy in their life. And then create some special time for yourself. And some of these key activities, if you want to experience joy with others, make eye contact, make a positive observation of the other person while you're with them. This can be a very sensitive time for others, so give them plenty of room and give yourself plenty of room and be gracious with people at this time. Share really sincere and specific good wishes. I think this is one of the most exciting things about this season is that I hear more people wishing good things for other people and sharing that with them. So this is a time to be really paying attention to what people are saying, who they are, and being very specific about what you wish to, for them. And creating your own special time, if whatever that is, spa treatment, dinner out, activities with friends, getting out in nature, whatever gives you a sense of calm and restoration and bring that joy back into your life during this time.
And, that's such a good point, Sandy. And what I've heard you say here, it's really a balance of being good and taking care of others, as well as of the other side of it, of taking care of yourself and being good to yourself. And with that balance, it's going to bring better for you and better for others around you. And yes, it is a special time of year. We're grateful for everything that we have, but really being alert and paying attention to people that are dealing with some challenges over this time, because it can add that when you've got some challenging things happening in your life. So great advice. Sandy, are there certain etiquette tips that you can bring to my listeners and to myself that we may have forgotten that we want to have during the holiday season?
Yes, there are some just key ones to remember or to employ. This time of year, families get together. There's usually some dining opportunities to get together, and I hear from many people that can be a strenuous time. That can be a time of people not agreeing or wanting to pick up the fight from the last
but it depends if you're breathing, and you can give it that 60-second breath. Maybe you'll react a little bit differently and prevent those things from happening, right?
That's correct. And then there's some other tips along that line to avoid disagreements. One of the things that I use that I have learned, and it's very effective, is that when someone has a different opinion than yourself and they're trying to get you to come to their side or vice versa, or convince you that they're right, then I just say to people, you may be right. I'm not saying that you are right, but you may be right. And at the end of it, I may not have to come back and say, you were right. So by saying that early in the game, it takes a lot of that edge off of the discussion. Also, when I want to make sure that I've gotten a chance to put my perspective out there as well, I do what I call a diversion introduction, where I acknowledge someone else in the family who may have a different perspective, and I put that out right up front. I say, I know that Uncle Harry has looked at this differently than I have. He has some different perspectives. I want to hear his, and in the meantime, this is how I perceive this situation. So I get a chance to say what my thoughts are, and at the same time, the natural transition is to go to Harry next and let Harry express what he's
that rich uncle. You never know what he's going to leave you.
That's right. So the key thing is that people do want to be heard. We all want to be heard, what our opinions are, what we bring to the table. And so we just need to have that airtime with each other.
Yeah.
If during that dining time, though, if there is a prayer that's offered, I just suggest that people respect the host or hostess and their faith by bowing in prayer and honoring that time with them. Other tips are to always wait to start the meal when the hostess first takes up their fork, except if the hostess encourages everyone to begin. The hostess may be still wrangling with some things with the meal and the dinner, and will say, please get started, because they don't want the meal to get cold. If you're in doubt during any portion of the meal, just observe and follow the hostess's lead. That will always have you in sync.
And I like to, hearing that, because there's always could be questions, and you can't fail by following the host's lead.
That's right. You're right in sync at that point, and you don't look like you're out of sync with the dinner. Now, if you're the one who's hosting the holiday party, I do suggest having a greeter at the door to welcome guests, take their coats, show them where the coats are going to be, show them where the bathrooms are, where the food is going to be, offer refreshments, pour that first drink, the first drink of punch, of wine, whatever you have at that time. And then if you know that they don't know some people that are at the same time, then introduce them to the other people that are there and share some of the similarities that you know about them that they might share with each other, and they can begin a conversation and begin to interact with each other at the same time. Now, if you're the guest, and have received an invitation to a holiday party, it's really important to RSVP. Let your host or hostess know whether or not you intend to be there. They are planning to have a great event for you and the people that they want to share this with, and they want to know whether or not you will be there with them.
Yes.
A gift is always appropriate to thank the host, and if you've brought wine, in that particular case, don't expect the host to serve it at that time. That's your gift to them, and they get to decide how they're going to use it.
Of course.
Okay. Holiday cards are also a very key part of this time, and I do suggest that you sign your full name. Unless you are Aunt Susan or Uncle Harry, there may be other people with the same name that you know, and you get the card and you think, well, who is this? Who is this that has sent me this card? So always put your full name
And no
in there.
business cards.
And no business cards. Exactly. And then also, I like to remind people about the 2-year rule regarding sending holiday cards. If someone that you have sent a card to fails to send you a card that year, don't just write them off your list. Give them another year to possibly catch up with you by they'll send you a card the next year because they got one last year. And then that way you can keep them on the list. If they don't send you one the second year, then maybe they come off your list at that point, unless you specifically want them to be on that list. And then finally, because of gifts, whether personal or business, it's really important to do a handwritten thank you note. It's always appropriate to acknowledge the receipt of a gift from somebody, even if you don't like it. If you don't like it, then just focus in on their thoughtfulness and their giving nature and comment on that in your handwritten note. Or the good qualities of the gift. Maybe it's a color you really like, or maybe it's something you've been looking at, whether or not you were going to buy it, but something you've been looking at for some time and thinking about whether or not you would like to have that. But mostly be truthful and be positive in your response to them. I like to send the thank you gift within 2 weeks of receiving the gift, but the sooner I send it after I've received it, the better I will recall what my reaction was to the gift and can share that with them so that they want to hear that you really appreciated it, that it was something that they gave you that is special to you.
Makes sense. So we have a lot of business professionals right here in studio. We all are, and we have a lot to listen to the show as well. Regarding thank you notes, what other tips apply with business for the holidays?
Well, this is a great time for office parties, and I know that people sometimes feel like, oh my goodness, I see these people at work all the time. Do I really want to spend part of my weekend or evening time with them? I really recommend that you attend, even if you're only there for 45 minutes to 60 minutes, and you do a really quality round of touching base with people that are friends or people that you want to absolutely touch base with at that meeting, at that event. If you don't show up, then it looks like you're not part of the team. You're not part of the organization. You're not supporting. Your camaraderie is not there for others. And so I do recommend that you spend a short period of time. Now, if it's better to leave after a short period of time than to stay, be bored, and drink yourself through the whole evening. So
or look like you're not having a good time.
Or look like you're not having a good time. Exactly. Also, there's gifts. There's holiday gifts that people give to each other. So when the company is doing that, it's better for the gifts to come from the company versus individual managers or supervisors. So it doesn't look like there's favoritism going on. And usually those gifts, if they're from the company, it's better if they're uniform in that there's nothing about inequality where someone's gotten a better gift that somebody else has, so people don't get into that comparative situation and feel like they're either being someone's being favored or that they're being unfavored in that situation. The safest gifting within a company is Secret Santa or White Elephant Exchange. Those are always fun, they're lighthearted, and everybody has a good time. Also, with holiday greeting cards, I really do recommend that you try not to look like a corporation. You want it to be a warm contact with your client, and you want it to be something that will strengthen your business relationship, not advertise your business, but strengthen that relationship and thank them for the time that they have interacted with your organization. I also recommend that you have all the staff members who are going to be involved, whether it's customer care, whether it's accounting, whether it's someone out in the shipping department, have them sign those cards because they're people who are interacting with the clients as well. Even if the clients don't see them or interact with them directly, they are there to support the company's efforts in that situation. And there's some possibility that if you feel that you don't want to get into the rush of Christmas cards that everybody else is doing, you could send your cards out for a New Year's greeting instead.
Yeah.
And that differentiates you from the other people that are...
I love that idea. I think it's always great, too, to do a team photo, have the team in there and show the appreciation and who's behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Makes the team feel special, and it also makes the client... it's nice to get that and see everybody that's involved. Sandy, thank you so much for the holiday etiquette tips and for joining me back in studio, and look forward to having you back as well.
Thank you very much. I'd be delighted to come back.
This is your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, signing off for the day. I've said happy holiday to all my guests. I want to extend a happy holiday to all of you, my listeners. I will be here same time, same place, next Saturday, right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
The preceding program was paid for by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 7233. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Gateway Mortgage Group. Contact your local branch for more information.